What's up? Good morning. It's cold out here in these. Well, not in the streets. We're in I don't know what you call this. Anyway, I made a video last week. It was really nice. It was snowing. I didn't post it. I forget why I didn't post it, but I didn't post it. Anyway, I think I was talking about school stuff. Life as a teacher. But anyway, yeah, how you guys doing? How's your life? Did you get crazy weather? I saw on the news there was flooding. Where I live, we don't get floods like that. I mean, down here probably floods, but not where your cars are being dragged away. That's just crazy. I saw one. It was like a military base on an island, and the flood water just knocked down the door. Didn't even knock on the door, just knocked it down. Came in the door, waving the 4 meters of water, and all we heard was, "We don't want no fishes, no." Anyway. But yeah, man, not much is happening. Just life stuff. Good morning.
Good morning.
Just life stuff. I'm gonna jump around as I usually do. Last Tuesday, I think it was Tuesday, or Monday, I think it was Monday. Last Monday, I had to get the progress reports in. It would have been done last Friday, but we had a snow day, which meant I couldn't go to school because, well, I guess it could, because it was a snow day, but there was no snow. It was just a random, we think there's gonna be snow, so we're gonna call off. But yeah, so I get there on Monday and they're like, the progress reports need to be done today. So I stayed up till like 11, but I fell asleep. And then when I was going to bed, I fell asleep at the table doing it. When I was going to bed, I saw a text from this secretary that works at her school, where I teach her son, and the headline's like, "Oh, I found his homework." And we just had like a meeting like a few days before that, talking about like me stressing that your son doesn't do anything. And like, "Oh, I'm gonna be on that." And then that Monday, when I asked him how comes he didn't do his work on the snow day, because we got to give him homework, he's like, "I didn't get a notification." And I'm like, "Well, you got a 0 now." And then 3 days later, his mom's like, "Oh, we found the work." I was so pissed. So with that pissed energy, I woke up at 3 and I started doing the progress report grades. The grades are terrible, man. They don't do the work. So a bunch of zeros, but we're not allowed to fail kids. And I just don't want to give them, I had to justify a grade, so I'm like being creative, changing projects that were worth 10 points, and they only did half, so I gave them 5, to making projects worth 25 points and giving them the whole points for just, I was so upset. The next day I came to school, and for that class, I didn't even talk to them. I didn't know what to say. So you don't do the work, and I gotta pass you. That's. I mean, I had a couple kids come up to me like, "Oh," well, this is when they all did get their progress reports on like Wednesday, 2 days later, and they're like, "Oh, thank you so much for giving me a 99." I said, "Listen, I didn't give you anything. You earned that." In another class, one student's like, "I'm happy with my grade. I can live with that." Now, this particular student had zeros. They didn't hand anything in since Christmas time. You know, our semester ended in November, and I was being very light with the work because, you know, we had our Thanksgiving stuff, and then Christmas, and then all this stuff was happening. So not much things were going on grade-wise. Just a few things here and there. And all their grades were 0, 0. They never handed it in. Then when they had snow days, didn't hand it in. 0, 0, 0. So then I'm hearing her exclaim how happy she is with the grade she received. So I call her over to my desk and say, listen, your grade's a 0. That's what you got. But we can't give you zeros. So that's what we gave you. 69s. Random, right? Can't be a 70, 69. And I got to speak to your parent. Like, oh, but I didn't. And she had all these excuses. I hate excuses. If a student says, why don't you do the homework? And they say, because I didn't feel like it. I smile like, at least you're being honest. I forgot. I mean, it's possible. But when my iPad and I try to upload, but it wouldn't upload because, like, get out of my face with that. Come back later. Eat that 0, which I'm fine giving zeros. I'm even fine putting it back to 69. What I'm not fine with is when the parents come in. Like, hey, why did my Johnny get a 0? Can you get extra credit? No, they can't get extra credit. Little Johnny needs to do the work and we're not. Oh, man. So anyway, stressed about that, but it is what it is. And I got to double down on just being more up, because I waited till progress report. Maybe I could have, but then, it falls back on me, but it's their responsibility. But yeah. So I'm doing more like in-class stuff. So when it's like, why didn't you get a good grade? Because you didn't do shit in class. Didn't have much homework, and tests are what tests are. You got to protect yourself from the parents. They're coming. I don't know if you remember me talking about the play. So the play, they said they wanted to do it, but no one knew how to do it. So I said, I'll do it. So then I did it. And the total of... So for the play, I just randomly picked one. It was in our textbook. So I picked that one. This was some Broadway play. Official. I did everything to finally get the invoice. $2,500. And I gave it to the principal. I told the principal, oh, that's so great. I told everyone, oh, that's so great. And I called them up, blah, 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 blah. 2 weeks passed. Nothing has been heard. And the one person, engagement officer, I don't know what the name is, but the person who does activities for the school, she's like, so when are we doing the play? I'm like, I don't know. It's up to the principal. I'm like, can you do me a favor? Can you ask the principal? So then she goes to our finance person, and she's like, yeah, I asked the finance person, and the finance person said, I'll okay it if the principal says it's okay. So it goes back. So then I tell the other person who is, there's only 3 of us, engagement, art teacher, and myself. So I say, art teacher, it's up to the principal. And then on Thursday, I had to take my dad's to the dentist. And then the feeling that the art teacher and I had was maybe it's too expensive. So I started looking for other plays that night. I found a bunch of them, like other license holders for play copyrights or whatever. But it's nighttime. So I just list them up and go to bed. So now I'm sitting at my table at home, because I had a day off working. Yeah, I know. And I'm clicking into them, and it's like this site that I found is like saying $25 for the copyright, $50 for this. You could alter it, it was just wild. So I'm making accounts for all these different places so we could go into it. My phone rings, it's the principal. I'm like, hello, should I keep busy? I'm like, not really. She's like, so the girls, there's only 2 male teachers, 3. She's like, the girls, which could be anybody, the girls have decided that we can't do that one because it's too expensive. We're gonna do Aladdin. I didn't know that our religious school can do a Disney movie. We didn't have much criteria. And she's like, it's way cheaper. It's but I'm on the same site. I know. I'm like, yeah, I'm finding the same one. So I send her the information, and then I send the art teacher, I don't know if she's CC'd. So then I don't hear anything back from the art teacher, and then the next day I come to school and she's like, yeah, we were talking about it, because she was one of the girls. Like, it's so confusing. The only good thing about it, I don't know if it's a good thing, when the play actually gets in hand, it'll be myself, the art teacher, and the activity person. It seems the more people involved, it just gets weird. But now the play's on again. I'm just doing it because, I don't know, it'll be interesting. I can do the tech stuff, lights, or whatever needs to be done. But kind of annoying, wasting time. But yeah, so anyway, keep it moving. It's cold out here. It's nice, but it's cold. Last week when it was snowing, it wasn't that cold. It was just snowing. Yesterday, Thursday, I went to my therapist, and you know, as I mentioned, the grades and the play, and this is also, I saw this video the other day, and it was saying, I mean, it's saying what everyone always known, but this one really resonated with me. It was saying to the effect, if you go to any church, there are people who can sing, but they're not all famous. They don't all make it. Because how bad do they really want it? What are they willing to do? And I just kind of thought, how bad do I want it? Do I want it like make deals with the devil, bend over, get caught up in random shit? No. So every time it was like, yo, like I was telling you, not that you guys remember everything I talk about, but one day I was walking home from getting my car fixed, and I ran into this guy, and he's like, yo, what's up, Matt? You still make beats? I just got out. I'm looking for beats. Now, maybe he's out straight and narrow, blah, 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 but the minute he's like, I just got out, and he wasn't talking about out the shower, I didn't want to work with him. I don't want to be in that kind of situation. So I avoid all those situations. So I'm not, if the vibe is off, so I don't want it that bad. Lying, hustling, doing XYZ to get the money to put it into ABC, I'm not interested. Dick riding somebody until the point comes where I could screw them over, I don't want it that bad. Marrying some certain person because they have connections, like a lot of people do these things, pretending to do one thing so you can flip over and do the other thing, riding whatever current trends there are, because that will, like, I don't want it that bad, apparently. And there you go. Net result is you don't move very far. I mean, if you look at my YouTube channel, good example. At one point, I noticed when I talk about being black in Japan, I'm not in Japan, but when I was in Japan, yes, I will be going back to Japan. People always ask those questions, but it got more engagement. People loved it. I'm like, I'm more than just a black person in Japan. I'm a person who happens to be black living in Japan. Just watch me, you'll get that. But you know, you see them numbers pop up, and if you pick the negative things, the numbers flying all over the place. And then it got to the point where that one guy whose channel was just black people in Japan, he interviewed black people living in Japan. He was hitting $1 million, not $1 million, but getting 1 million views per video. I was like, I was a little upset because he didn't interview me. Not that I was the first black person to do content, and not that I was the most famous of black people, but I was just one of the originators of the format. But he never reached out. I'm pretty sure he knew who I was. You know how that goes. Old school, new school. Although I think he was older than me. I don't know. But my point is, I didn't want to make those kind of videos. I didn't want to attach that to me. And yeah, or So again, I must not have wanted it that bad, but I don't feel that it was the case. I just wanted to carve my own lane, do my own thing. I want to reinvent the wheel and the mousetrap, which is fine if you have the means, income, and all that, which I didn't. There's only so much you can do with time, energy, and money. But back to music, I'm 42, but I'll be 43 in a couple of months. It's almost like I saw this yesterday. It was Justin Timberlake doing some song, dancing around. And it was weird because clearly he looks like me. I believe we're the same age. He's old. He's not moving the same way. He's a dad. He's rich, successful, and he can still sing. It's just weird to look at. I don't look at old Justin Timberlake. Or I'll watch old Justin Timberlake do young Justin Timberlake songs for the nostalgia, but I want to hear old Justin Timberlake singing new. Like if he's like, she was eating my booty hole, like some Ice Spice sounding, or him featuring with her. I get it. And again, how bad does he want to be relevant? Jumping on new things. So it's kind of like it's depressing in a sense. And so then I flash back, like I lived a good life, and I still got a lot of life to live, but I need to pivot. I gotta figure out something. Now, do I still do music? Of course. I made a track yesterday, so I do my little weekly challenges. I just finished my 365, so I'm taking a little breather, but I'll get back into it pretty soon. Thinking about an album. I'm not buying anything until Black Friday because I already have enough shit. I don't need nothing. I'm not even going to go into that. But yeah, so I have that on my mind. So school, music stuff, life, and the play and all that. So now we're back at the therapist. So I go to the therapist and I'm sitting on the couch. I never lay down on the couch. I will fall asleep. Can't get that comfortable. She's like, so what's on your mind? All those things were on my mind. But I don't want to talk about them in particular. I don't know what I want to talk about. So she's like, how is you and your dad? And I'm like, it is what it is. My dad's 90. I'm 43. Got that generational whatever. He's from the old country of Japan. Not Japan, Jamaica. I'm born and raised in America. We got that. I read books. My father, like, all these things are there. So she's like, why don't you go ahead, talk about it. So I started saying, you know what, man? Yesterday, and then the date, I'm just going backwards. And then she's like, Matthew, why do you let him have power over you? And I was so pissed. What the fuck you mean have power over me? I know what it means. And at one point I was going like, they also say have someone live rent free in your head. And she'd be like, what does that mean? And then I'd give some examples of some current things. But I was just like, no. Why? Because the weeks before she said this, she said, if you don't talk about it, it's going to eat you up. And so that was one part of her whatever. And then the other part was, you have to understand where your father's coming from. You have to be empathetic. Like, what do you mean I have to? I am. I understand he's 90 and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So now she's saying, why do you think about it? What do you mean? First of all, why are you talking about it? Because you asked me. You said, talk about it. I was like, yeah, it is what it is. Meaning, ain't shit gonna change. So we sat the whole time just, I was just, So then I pulled out one card. I got a lot of cards. So she's an Eagles fan. And one time I said something like, yeah, them Eagles. And she's like, don't bring out the Eagles. Because they lost. And we kept it moving. So I brought up but I did it in such a way because I don't want to attack people. I said, imagine that there's a person over here. And that person is just whatever. And I go, yeah, them Eagles didn't do so well. And they're just like, I would say to them, why are you letting the Eagles have power over you, sir? I'm talking to her, but, I don't know if she got the direct reference to what I was getting at. And I couldn't, and usually when I'm sitting in a chair talking to people in real time, I can't. It's really hard for me to crystallize my thoughts. I don't have a framework for it. I just know humans, unless they're oblivious, drugs, alcohol, are mentally unstable in the sense that nothing bothers them because they cannot hold a thought for long. Like Jay-Z has the power, so I haven't seen it myself, but let's say he does. He could freestyle and he could memorize his lyrics without writing them down. That's a skill, right? So we'd assume that he couldn't turn that off either. Like he just remembers shit. I gave an example that I have people who, when we go to places, they're like always looking at other people and just like, look at that person's shoes, look at that person's note. Like they can't turn off that other people are in the area with them. When I'm in a space, I don't remember, I don't see shit. I'm just in there, and if I'm talking to you, the whole time we are talking. Like when I used to do the videos in Japan, I'm doing this, and then behind me maybe a Maserati, some fancy car passes by. I'm not in the market to buy a car. I can't afford any fancy cars, so I don't see it. At best, I'll see cars that have like the shiny paint on it, the hyper color looking thing. Those are interesting. Suicide doors might catch my attention, but just random cars. But we all are kind of, I mean, again, I don't know the words for this, but I believe we all have something. I mean, and I guess the irritation with speaking with anyone, but the more I speak to somebody, what they say and what they're telling me doesn't line up. So the week before, she was saying when she goes out, doesn't matter where she is, people always come up to her and they always tell her life story because she always looks at people and smiles. She just does it. She doesn't know why. Well, when I'm dealing with people, I remember everything they say and do because that's what I do. It makes it easier to kind of anticipate, but I can't turn it off. I don't know how to turn it off. I was joking with her, give me drugs, hypnotize me. Let me not, because it just, and I gave some examples, like if you have perfect pitch, la 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 la, and someone like la la la, it would hurt you. Not hurt you like maybe physically, but it would annoy you where average Joe or Jane just like, I was once in a car once, driving down somewhere, and I was with this woman. She's driving, and she's singing along to the radio. She can sing. I did ask her if we could do a track together, but she's singing with the CD and she's not on, or the radio. Like it just sounded bad. And at one point, I mean, she's driving, but I wanted to say, either you sing or you let the radio sing, but don't sing with the radio because it sounds like poop. Can't say that. My therapist would say, well, why do you let that have power? What do you mean let that? Like right now it's really cold and it is what it is. Suck it up. Why do you let it have power? And now I've been thinking about it since I left on Thursday. Why did I get let power? I can't get that. I guess it has power over me now. But I don't think, I don't know, and I don't want to research about it because when I walk in there next week, we won't even bring it, because that has happened. I come in there with a Excel sheet. I did that one time. PowerPoints, videos, but it never connects to what we talked about the week before, which is really annoying. It's like when I was watching Dragon Ball Z. It came on, they get all Super Saiyan and shit, but then the next day, it was like nowhere, it wasn't in order, it wasn't in sequence. This was back in the day where I didn't know it was anime. This is before Japan. So I can't watch this, it makes no sense. But yeah. And then the overdub shit. But yeah, man, Phone therapy. Anything else? Anything else? Anything else? My exciting kids. I saw this video yesterday, a little Instagram thingy, where somebody, I guess my age, was talking to someone Gen Z. And it was so funny because when I, like, the way, not just the words they said, but the tone, the timbre, that's how my kids talk. And the same angriness of, but that's what you said. Same way, it was one for one. And I had to play it a couple times because I was like, which student? Like, oh my gosh, is this it? And then they ended it with a TikTok dance. Like the situation, the little girl or Gen Z person wanted to use a phone, and the older person's like, here's a cordless, and the Gen Z's like, what's this? And the older person, I say old, like, the person was like, it's like any other phone. So then they hold up the cordless and say, hey Siri, call mom. And then the older person just like, what are you doing? And the younger person's like, you said it was like any other phone. And that, my kids do that all the time, my students. You said. Yes, I said that, but, and that frustration, like, yes, that's what I said, but that's not what I. But then she gives her iPhone, because the Gen Z's phone died or whatever. So she gives her the iPhone, and she takes the iPhone. She's like, hey Siri, call mom. And then she's like, your mom wouldn't be programmed into my phone. Just dial it. And then the Gen Z person's like, I don't know how. And that little phrasing, that's how my students say it. Like, da-da-da-da. Like this kind of, not ashamed, or it's kind of like my dad the other day asked me what the date was. I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. Why would I know that? I have my Apple Watch, which will tell me, and my phone was there. I wasn't wearing my Apple Watch, so I had to reach for my phone, and he's like, why are you reaching for your phone? You should know this. But for what? Like right now, I don't need to know what time it is, what date it is, what astrology, unless I'm on Jeopardy. Now, ironically, you don't want to watch Jeopardy with me. When we watch Jeopardy, I'll be like, bam, like I just know random stuff. And you're like, oh, I never got that education. But it's not education, you just know random stuff. Like one time they're like, where's the 36 chambers? And the smart guy, he's like, doo-doo. He didn't get it. And my brother and I were there like, Wu-Tang, Wu-Tang. But why would he know that? I'm pretty sure that wasn't on his SATs. Random information. But yeah, it's such an interesting, and I know, again, I don't have the words or the thing, but every generation would have this, oh my gosh, these kids can't, because the leaps and bounds of life are happening, you know? Like now, I make my videos, it looks like the light is off, because it's like all shiny and shit. Like I got lip gloss on or whatever. I ain't got no lip gloss on. It's the lighting, leave me alone. But now, like when I started doing this, I was holding an actual camera, like a little handy cam with tapes, like little 8mm DV tapes to do this. Much heavier, much bigger, much whatever. And then when I got the tapes, you had to convert them. So if I was talking for 30 minutes, I had to convert it for 30 minutes. Real time thing. Or when it came with the little compressed thing from Sony, 15 minutes, and then you had to unconvert it. And then you got to keep track of all these tapes, and then you don't want to you know how many things I like, because they're expensive. So you had one, and you had to, life was hard. But I did what I did. Now, the ease, and then you had to upload it to YouTube, which would take forever, blah, 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 blah. Now, you got a phone, you are ready to go. And you see all types of content creators. I watch a few from Africa, because they're funny. Not funny in like, oh, but they're funny in, it's like a skit. And they're using, I don't know, it's funny. Like there's this one guy who does like this, I can't even explain it, but it's really entertaining to watch. One guy, he wears the same outfit, same location, but it's funny, like, and then kids, like, everyone has the capability to do their little thing on upload it to the world, and everyone is. And now you get the, like, you know, the algorithm. So I watch one, now I keep getting it. But like random people crashing into things, like people doing papa wheelies and the bikes this and just, they shouldn't be on top of the ladder, and it's nonstop. But there was a time when no one would have the capability to record people doing random shit. A lot of it could be caught on like the door cams and all that. So now we get an influx of all this, an influx of, like, this one, I don't like it. When I have kids, you probably, like my own kids, you'll probably never see them because I don't want my kids on. It may be out of my control by that time. But you see, like, there was this one where the parents, or the adults, I don't know if they were parents, were smacking eggs on their kids, like they're baking a cake or something. They're like, boom, and then they're recording the reaction. Some kids were in shock. Some kids cried. Some kids said, "That's not very nice." Like, you're setting them up. Right now I found one. It's a duo, but it's more like just a guy, a dad, probably my age. He's a rapper. Apparently he knows how to rap, make music. And he has his 7-year-old son rapping too. His dad made the thing. He probably wrote the lyrics and he's doing all that stuff, but they're a duo. There was this other little kid who his parents were never in it. It was just 100% him. But maybe this dad's like, I want some of the shine. So now it's them doing it. And they're rapping about Jesus. And it's like, I love Jesus. But the little kid's all, I love Jesus. Throwing up gang signs. And it has that innocence of little kid rapping. He has dreads. He's 7. He has that squeaky young Bieber sounding Michael Jackson voice. The lyrics are squeaky, and then his dad will jump in, like they're doing trap drill sounding. And there's nothing wrong with the song. It's I could hear it on the radio. But how do I compete with that? Oh my gosh. I can't. I mean, it's not my market, but well, yeah. I forgot where I was going. Oh yeah, Gen Z. So yeah, my kids are like, they're smart. They know stuff. Because, you know, they have AI assisted Siri before AI was even coming up, like whatever word. Siri's been around for a while. You could have, at any point, hey Siri, what's the meaning of life? Hey Siri, what's the atomic mass of... And Siri would spit that shit back at you. Most teachers outside their domain, they're not going to be able to answer a question. When I was their age, I was going to church and I went to a public school. I said, how comes in the Bible they live to be 130, 200, 400 years old? Teacher says, don't know. No, they're stammering. Just say you don't know. No one ever said they didn't know to me. They try to, but kids, they could bypass all that. World Wide Web. Now, they might get too much information. Instead of saying, Daddy, where do dogs go when they die? They could type that in the phone one day. Hey Siri, where do dogs go when they die? And Siri's like, dogs will die and their body will go into the ground and decompose. It is the circle of life. Circle of life. Little John, he's like too much knowledge. So they know shit. They know what Trump is up to. And they may be like, well, if the former president can act like a dick, there's hope for me. So this phrase came up yesterday. I was amazed. She said, can you not? She's talking to this boy. She said, can you not? What? Can you not? 3 words. Can you as a subject, not. Not would be the verb, I guess. Can you not? I guess it's a sentence. Can you not? Can you not? Can you not? Can you not? And a lot of times when they're doing what they're doing, I usually smile because it's such a weird, huh. Now, I know they're hearing it from parents, TikTok, all that. If it's the first time I'm hearing it, can you not? And then later on I heard again, so I'm behind. But they're learning from all different types of directions. So, and coming down here, I had this thought. Right now, we older folks, we all upset with Gen Zs. They don't know how to do stuff and blah, 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 which may be true, but they do know how to navigate the other stuff. Here's my prediction. Someone saved this so when it happens, you could be like, Ryman was on that. But right now, Apple is going to release their VR. Yes, VR has existed, but so has smartwatches and smartphones and HomePods and all that. They existed before in some way, but Apple kind of does what they do. So Apple makes these VR, they're pretty expensive and probably buggy as all hell, and not a lot of app developers will be on it. But at some point, they'll get the VR things 0.10. Well, let's say 5. By 5, price will be dropped low enough, or people will be willing to be in a 10-year subscription plan. So now you're going to see people walking around with these things, because you could see, from what I remember from seeing the blurb, it has a thing where cameras are on the outside so you can see while you're walking. So you're going to see people walking down the street in their little VR sets, oblivious to, of course, they can see you. In the same way like drones have the sensors that if you get too close, it will like stop it. So they'll no longer be in this world, they'll be in a VR world. Now you might say, and a lot of people I talk to, we all like, but remember when Pokemon Go was a thing? I mean, it still is a thing, but when it just came out, people be standing there. It looked scary. It looked like seeing a whole bunch of people motionless. There was a thing. People would change their whole lives. People were finding dates. So I don't think it's illogical to see that reality happen. And it's funny, that reality. But give it 2-3 years, people are going to be all VR'd. And then it's going to be the older people who are like, I just don't understand. Back in my day. But it like, and again, I don't have the words for this. And I don't know why I feel this way, but back in my day, it was the same thing. When I got my cell phone, my dad said, why do you need a cell phone? We got a cordless phone. Now people cannot live without it. Even my dad got a phone. Upset he can't use it. Irony. I had to, we could have learned it together. Video games, Mortal Kombat used to be like, it's such a bad game. Mortal Kombat. It had a rating. We're now Fortnite and Call of Duty. Huh? MTV used to be bad. You remember? Oh, don't watch MTV. South Park. And like just the for rap, they'd be like, oh, all the females talk about is their pussy. Well, for like, I don't know the time frame, but all dudes talked about was their dicks. Like now it's their time to shine. Like, what's the difference? Yeah, I don't want to listen to it. I fucked this guy and then I took all his money and then not for me. But if it's empowering for that group of people, so be it. I will turn my dial to either my own music or whatever. But to complain about it gets out the bag. Again, technology made it easier for anyone to post their thoughts, and everyone does. Which, yeah, it is what that is. It is what it is. So that was my thing with the therapist. It is what it is. What can we do about that? And she's like, you can let it have power. I don't think so. I believe, I forget, and again, I don't have all these things somewhere where I could pull them together to make some logical thing. But before you can defeat something, you have to give it a name. You have to understand what it is. So, according to that theory, you would have to give something power. I name you before you can get rid of it. You have to acknowledge it. Now, the thing is, if I'm spouting off some truth, I doubt the therapist or anybody is going to be like, you know what? Although I went to school for this and been doing this for 15 plus years, you have enlightened me. I don't believe that could happen. So even if, and this is another issue, I get, as I said before, young people are smart. Everyone's smart, but young people. So they might hit on these truths before we do. Like they might be on again, but they're watching other people say this. Like right now, there's 8 million different channels of someone saying something that is against what everyone else thinks. That's their whole channel. Like this day and age, you have someone like a man should protect and take care of the household bills and stuff, and a woman's job is to cook and clean. And then you got a whole bunch of people like, yeah! And then you got another channel like, I'm a boss bitch, and da-da-da-da. And you have a whole people under there, yeah! And it's endless. So depending where the algorithm sends you, you could be indoctrinated in a philosophy that, or before it would be whatever household you lived in, you would be kind of brainwashed into that. It's gone. So it's an interesting time we're living in. Interesting, but I want to say that it's no different from any other time, because if it wasn't TikTok, Instagram, YouTube 1.0, and if it wasn't YouTube, it would have been blogs and books, and if it wasn't blogs and books, it would have been magazines, and if it wasn't magazines, TV, and if it wasn't TV, radio, and if it wasn't radio, the church, and if it wasn't the church, the block. And if it wasn't the block, maybe the pasture. And if it wasn't at any point, there would have been some prevailing thought that you would be swept into because you happen to be there. Now, it's fragmented. We can tap into our own. You don't believe me? You're like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, Matt. Don't know what you're talking about. Try this out. Go to a site you normally don't go to. And I mean, you have to break the chains or whatever. But just go to some random site and just watch it, read it, consume something else try a month. Now, again, if you are actively trying to make this point, you could actively fight and resist. Like if someone's like, try this food here. I bet you're gonna like it. I already start saying, no, I won't. And I turn off my taste buds and think of poop or something like. And even if I won't give you the benefit of the doubt, because that's just what it is. So same thing with this concept I'm trying to put on you. But in general, if it's somehow is like I saw this one the other day. Friends, they make $1 million, $20 million. They make a lot of millions per rerun of their show, whatever. They live in large. But it was never really for me, because one, there was no black people, like no main black people. I think there was some black people, but I never seen any. So it wasn't for me. Wayne Brothers, that's what I was watching. Sisters, Moesha. I didn't watch Moesha, but you get my point. They look like me, so I watch it. I'm in college. All my college mates I had 4, so they're white. And they're like, hey man, why don't you come out here and watch TV with us? If I'm invited, I'm like a vampire, I'll come. So I came, sat down, they watched Friends, Seinfeld, because it was back to back. And after like a month or so, okay. Sex and the City, that was also then, my ex-girlfriend. And then Jay-Z had to put, the only time we don't sleep is doing Sex in the City. But I don't think he was, but it was for, so you get my point. Like, so again, I don't have a way to elegantly put all this in there. It's just my thoughts and the research for it. Maybe it's flawed, I don't know. When I'm put on the spot, it gets all unraveled even more. But anyway, I'll end on this note. I like to end on a happy note. That's my new thing. Not that I was being negative and all that, but tomorrow, Sunday, we're having this open house at our school, and they told us that we have to decorate our hallway like a contest. I was paired with the art teacher, and yeah, so she tells me on Monday, oh yeah, we gotta decorate our hallway. Like, what? No, she told me on Tuesday or something. I didn't see her. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, I'll come up with an idea. So she thought of, some Catholic scientists and some artists or whatever. And then I came up with, we should light the hallway up, because my CVS, they had a sale, 75% on all the Christmas lights. So it'd be really cheap, and we could light them up, and I could use them next season, Christmas season. So I go to the CVS, and I see there's no sign saying 75% off. So I go up to the register. I'm like, are the lights, Christmas stuff, still 75% off? Like, nope, that ended this morning. I was there this morning. That's why I'm like, oh. He's like, how much were you trying to get? I was like, I was trying to get all of them. Now, there was like 80 boxes back there. So you get all of them. He's like, how many is that? I'm like, I don't know. 5, 7? He's like, can you get 10? I'm like, sure. Or let me figure it out. So I go back there and I'll start calculating. So the biggest box of 300 lights was like $29. 75% off of that, $5, give or take. And then the cheapest was $6, which would come up to like $1.50 or something. So I'm pricing them up. He comes back, so what you gonna do? I'm like, I'm gonna get these 10 over here, but I didn't know if I want the color lights, So then I go up there and I told him, yeah, I'm putting up lights in my school. He's like, what school is that? I'm like, it's a school over there. And then he starts talking about how his daughter, she's homeschooled because she can't hack it in regular schools. I'm like, yeah, COVID did a number on the kids today. Like, yeah, like she's not social anymore. And again, back to that VR concept, a whole generation that's not social would happily put themselves in a little VR world, and it's coming. But anyway, his daughter's 8th grade. My school's a 1-2-8. So I was gonna invite him. But I got all them lights, and then because that's what we did in Japan. Not so much what we did in Japan. I didn't do it in Japan. But in Japan, they would light up everything. They had the greatest illuminations. So I got 2 lights that, it was like the size of a football field. That's what I came up with. I don't know. I guess if you stretch it out. But I was able to get from one hallway all the way down to the other hallway. So I put one going down this way, one going down that way. And then I got another one to go wrap around a little poster board. And then I got color lights to go on the other side. Good morning. And on the other side, and then some other lights. So it's a lot of lights. And I had to get some extension cords yesterday after work. So I'm gonna go later today to make sure everything stays. I don't know what will win. I don't know. And I'm gonna tie it all together with, because this came after the fact, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it, because there's a bunch of scriptures about light and then science and art, and like it ties perfectly. But my only concern is the students, because it's a middle school. They're gonna fuck around and like pull it down. because these things are just, they're stapled into the boards, but the staples, so I need to figure out how to keep them in place for at least a week, because next week is Catholic week at our school. So yeah, I'll show you a picture later. But that's about it. Be safe. Thank you for walking and talking with me. Oh, the that animation thing. That's what I mentioned it before. I want to use animations like that to teach, because they're all TikTok and all that. So make something fun, rap music. They don't have to look at this face. I could use it for YouTube. So the process has been started. I bought a book, $35 book. Actually, it's a $50 book, but I had a $15 gift card from Christmas. So I got the book. The software is like $200. I mean, the software, because it's Adobe, so it turns out if you just get the whole package, it'll be cheaper than getting one app. So I'll get them all. I'll get my After Effects. I used to fuck with that. I'll get Premiere. Before I switched to Final Cut, I was all about Premiere. I mean, Premiere is older than Final Cut. And then 20 other apps that I'll never use. I mean, I already have Photoshop, Illustrator, and Lightroom. But all them other ones, I get it. They got a package to make their money, how they make their money. But that's like a $200 thing for the year. I get an educational discount. And it will be for education. Good morning. I mean, I used to do educationals. I mean, I've always been a student for the most part and teaching. But yeah, man, I'm excited. Because it's really cool. It has motion capture, but with your camera. So when I do this with my hand, it automatically like moves it's pre-rigged, but you could make your own, like you could design your own character, but you just, but yeah. So look out for that. Give me your feedback. Let me know how that is. Anyone out there who knows what they know, please get at me, teach me, get me up to speed. And yeah. Be safe, and now it's warm. Like, I should just come out later in the day. But anyway, peace.